What time? Probably about 45 minutes after 72, which is for you will be about an hour after 72. Okay, 1 second. There is an echo. Okay, everything is an echo. Let me see. Oh, there is an echo.
This tablet, the standard
Okay, they should be better now.
disappeared.
Aleyküm selam. Monteşke. Emre Keşke.
Maybe took it.
Kind of işte. No, ben çok mantıklı. Çünkü ben mamçı mata abakna.
Okay, Brian, hopefully there's no more echo. I had two mics on by mistake. I apologize. Okay, so let's get started. Zok Tehillah Gemara, the last line at the bottom of the Kuf Yud on the base. Kuf Yud, it's the key to understanding Yerusha of his mother. For Isha Simon, how do you know that someone Yarshis his mother? The Toner Rabbanim. The mother better have a lot of money because the amount of work we're going to have to do to figure out how you know that you're actually your mother is extensive. It's even harder than figuring out how you know that you're actually the father. It says, "Chobas Yereshes Nachlo Mimatoish Bnei Yisrael." This is the pasuk in the follow-up sugya to Bnei Shlovchad, where they complained. The Shvatim complained that now it's going to divert Nachlo. So Hakadosh Baruch Hu said, "Chobas Yereshes Nachlo."
Only that.
Yeah, that's how they do now. That's right.
To give all
That's
your-
right. Because otherwise it'll still follow the Torah. But when you write a will,
Rather-
you're supposed to give the Gemara's times you have to give 10% to the daughters to marry them off. As not, you have to give 10% of your assets. And that's how it's worded.
You give a
That-
huge amount.
That's how we're no the Gemara in Ksubas tells us you give 10% of your assets and 10% of the estate goes to the girls. And the Gemara even discusses what if there's 10 girls, the first girl gets 10% of the big, the last girl gets nothing. So the Gemara says you equalize it. But nowadays girls should get an equal share. I have to listen, my shviger just passed away. That's not much. That's much. I'm not just saying this agavorche. I'm saying it with conviction. Amr lei Rab Nachman. Zok Rab Nachman. Rab Tavla, Obad Uvda, Rab Schari ben Akatev. Rab Tavla also passed like Rab Schari ben Akatev and gave the girls equal. In the meantime, I lost Ephraim because he didn't want to wait anymore. He said, "What's going on over here?"
You're not recording. Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, it is being recorded.
This one is a lot.
It's live.
Oh, I have to be careful what you say.
This not working either.
I thought we were off. It says live.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Zok to Gemara weiter. Zok to Gemara weiter. Rab Tavla also over the Rab Schari ben Akatev. He also did the same. Omar lei Rab Nachman Mai. What's this that you're paskening like Rab Schari ben Akatev? Omar lei the Omar Rab China bar Shlamya Mishmei the Rav. Rab Schari ben Akatev is goof araya why to go to the daughter because he said, "Who am I? I'm ben Akatev. My father's not in agriculture. My father is a butcher." So it makes sense that he should say the daughter should get equal because he was living a life where his father didn't make money off agriculture. That's my own forum tire. But it stims.
It's kind of on the bar. I remember.
Reb Chaim ben Akatev? Where is it? Amar Reb Nachman Mai Amar Lei Amar Reb China bar Shlamya Mishmei the Rav Halacha Reb Chaim ben Akatev. Amar Lei, so Reb Nachman told him back, Zil Ahader, you better go and fix this up and make sure to give the Yerusha to the son. The Eloi, and if you don't, Mafkina Loch Reb China bar Shlamya Ma'unech. You're quoting that Reb China bar Shlamya paskind like Reb Chaya. I'm going to pull Reb China out of your ear. What does it mean? I'm going to pull him out of the ear. Zok the Rashbam. What it means is Mishamtina Loch. I will put you into Chayim, and then V'lo Yisaya Loch Reb China bar Shlamya. You can't point to Reb China bar Shlamya to save you. You can't hide behind him. You're going to be in the Chayim, and there'll be nothing that he could do for you. Reb Huna bar Chia Sover Lemev and Uvda Reb Chaya ben Akatev. He also wanted to paskin like Reb Chaya ben Akatev. Amalei Reb Nachman Mai. What is this? Amalei the Amar Reb Huna Amarav Halacha Reb Chaya ben Akatev. Amalei. I'm afraid. I was afraid to say that because these are Tanoim who are paskening. But I was thinking that Amalei. Oh, really? Rav Huna said in the name of Rav. How about I send Rav Huna a message to double check to make sure you quoted him right? So now he's getting threatened because now he's thinking, oh, maybe I misheard, maybe I misunderstood. Now he's checking up on me. So Ichsiv, he was like a little concerned that they're gonna check up on him. So Amalei, so Reb Nachman told Reb Huna, Hashtachinach Nachshe the Rab Hava Isteris Lekabli. Are you telling me that had Reb Huna died already and you knew that I couldn't double check on you? Also, then you would action zich to stick to Reb Chaya ben Akatev? So I see already that you're not so sure. You could only be confident if you can't be double checked. But the moment you say you could be double checked, you're not so sure anymore that you actually heard this from Rav Huna. But Lamaisa, but you come on, Savra. Who does he hold like? Now that who did Rab Nachman hold like? Who said that Avada the son takes precedence even in the nechasim of his mother? He had Rav Shmuel Tamar Tevayu ein halacha Reb Chaya ben Akatev mistamach. Oh, period. So that's what he passed. So Zok Gemara story time. Mistamach ve'ozel Rabbi Yanai akasud Rab Shmuloi sham. Rab Shmuloi was the shamash of Rabbi Yanai. He was an El Terid, and he was walking, leaning on Rab Shmuloi. Ve'ozel Rabbi Yehuda Nesiya Lapayu, and coming towards them was the great Rabbi Yehuda Nesiya. Amar Lei. So Rabbi Yanai told his shamus, Rabbi Samloi, Bar Inish the Asa Lekibilna, the person who's coming to greet us, Hu Yoi, he's beautiful, the Gulsa Yoi, and he's wearing a beautiful, beautiful beged. Now there's a shiloh in the response. Does it mean he had a beautiful, beautiful beged, like nice silk? Or does it mean it was beautiful because it was the beged of a Talmud Chacham that goes down to the ground, how a Talmud Chacham has to, how a Talmud Chacham has to dress? The Rishbam says, but in the moment, you're going to see from the rest of the story that it was a beautiful silk beged. It wasn't that it was the beged of a Talmud Chacham. Why? Because Kamata Lagabe, when they actually met each other, and at first, when it was from a distance, he said the Gul Sayyid. But when he got closer, Goshisha, Rabbi Yanai chapped on the beged of Rabbi Nasi to feel it. That's a socially off, no? He grabs on, let me see your beged. But he did it. Amar lei dain shiurei kisak. This, I love it, because even when they're commenting on the quality of your beged, it's always with the Torah. This would have a din of sak lagabitumah. A regular beged, 3 fingers by 3 fingers, is enough to be mekabel tumal beged. But this, it would need 4 fingers by 4 fingers because it has a din of a sack. So he was paskening with halacha. It's like the first time when I was in Israel and someone told me lech lazazel. I love that. I never heard such a goinish way of cursing someone before. But the series also, I loved it. The first time a guy told it to me, and don't worry, it was told to me a lot when I was in Israel. It was told to me a lot. I was laughing so hard, and the guy didn't help. I just cursed you while you're laughing. I didn't help. Like he was a regular goyish, a fry cab driver, but the goyish of it. So everything they said, even when they're commenting on the quality of beged, it's all based on Allah. I'm not sure what the limud. I didn't have a chance to look at the svarim as to what the special limud. Does anybody have an article here? Does he say Vosepis he would comment on the quality of his beged? I've spoken to many rabbunim before, and not once did someone say, "You look, this suit looks like you bought it in a thrift store." I don't know. So how could he have said Yoy? How would he have seen it in Zia?
The Gabba
was the one that said it was.
Oh, the Gabba said it was nice. The Ibrahim says this is what you call nice. This is cheap. Oh, so I messed up.
I'm getting a brisket. No.
I hear. Oh, so see, he corrected him. So he felt it by feeling it. He knew what it was. Okay, shkoyach. I didn't have trust. Thank you for telling me. Boy minay. So once he meets it, can learn. So he asked Rabbi Yehuda the following shayla: Minayin leben shekoidim lebas b'nich sayim. Omar le. So Rabbi Yehuda told him. The Chesed says in the pasuk matois, the same limud we just had. Makish matayoin l'matayoav. Ma matayoav ben koidim lebas. Af mataim ben koidim lebas. Amalei, we're assuming Rabbi Yanai was a tough cookie. Amalei, so I guess Rabbi Yanai answered back. Rabbi Yanai must have answered back. Rabbi Nasi?
He said to Rabbi Yanai.
Rabbi Nasi said to Rabbi Yanai. So Rabbi Nasi asked Rabbi Yanai, how do you know? So Rabbi Nasi asked Rabbi Yanai, how do you know? And Rabbi Yanai answered that. So Frank Rabbi Nasi, Amalei, Ima mata av bechor noitel pishnayim, av mata aim. If you're going to learn that out of Mata Av, just like when a boy is yarshening from his father, a bechor takes pishnayim. So when a bechor yarshes from a mother, he should also take pishnayim. That's the kasha that Rabbi Yehuda Nasi answered it back. What? It's not like it. It's not like it. So look at Amar Pei. Rabbi Yanai was a tough cookie. He's talking to Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. I wouldn't think Rabbi Yehuda Nasi this way. Rabbi Yanai must have been like a god l'shaboilim, because look what they said back. Amar l'shamei. Rabbi Yanai told the Shabbos, good, let's get out of here. Less din tzvi lemelov. There's nothing to learn from this guy. This is a waste of time. Look at the Rashbam. Less din right to lemelov. He doesn't want to learn here. He's just trying to hack me a charning. El hakshish dvarim chein and trichen. Kloimar, the davar kalu l'taretz. He asked me a kasha that he knows is not a kasha. He's trying to hack me and kaparan. Let's get out of here. We don't have time for Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. Like these are like the titans of the Gemara of the Mishnayos. Oh, it's Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. It's a different person. Okay. So if you have a name like that, you know what I mean. If Rabbi just says, "Efrei kasha hack kapara, let's get out of here." But time good kasha. Mati had the same kasha. But you shouldn't feel bad that Rabbi Yanai doesn't have time for you. But Rabbi Yehuda Nasi had your kasha. So the time of I, when it says in the parsha of Bechor, this is by the Snua, says Ki Bechor ben Snua, Yakir, Loses Loi, Pishnayim, Bechol Asher Yimotzei Loi, whatever he has, Loi v'loi la. The halacha that the Bechor takes Pishnayim only applies to Aloi, not to Allah, and therefore you don't get Pishnayim from your mother. That's right. The Ema, unless he gives her a matana, a mata shchivim or a matana tevisa, then it's always Pishnayim.
Ja, wie gesagt, als ze de Tannhausen nicht liegen, dann zusammen.
Not anymore. If you own a business, you shouldn't have your house in your name, because then through your business you can get personally sued, and you don't want your house to.
So then you don't own the house anyways.
Zok Gemara, Ve'ema. Josh Frankel told me when he found out that oh, my house joined with my business, Yosy, take it out of gas right away.
Why? Because of what?
Because when you have a business, you have exposure. You can be sued for things. You're doing stuff. You're in the belt. So should you get sued? No, because there's certain things that the owner has liability for as well, like payroll deductions, or what if the negligence. There are ways where you can get sued personally. He says, keep it out of your wife's name. See, this isn't just a Gemara shirt. This is a. He said they'll do it for you. No problem. My Scotiabank had no problem with it. They had no problem taking me off an existing mortgage. Yeah.
You just ruined it. I said, oh, it's mortgage.
Never mind. More. I want to tell you, there's no one praying for my good health more than the bank, more than my mortgage holder. So the Ema Hanamili, Bachar Shanas Almana. Yes, you have a pasuk that says that you only yarshin from your father, Pishnayim, not from your mother. But there's many different cases where we could shtel ein that the pasuk is referring to. Let's shtel an ein in the least chiddush. And where is there the least chiddush? When you have two parents, a mother and a father, and the Torah says you only get pishnayim from the father, not from the mother. Maybe that's speaking of bochur shenos almana. Maybe when the pasuk says b'chol asher yimatziloi, it's referring to a case where you're a bechor from your father, but not a bechor from your mother, and that's why it says b'chol asher yimatziloi, because you're not a bechor to her. You're only a bechor to him. So therefore, you get pishnayim from your father, but not from your mother. What if you have a bachar shenos b'sula? So you are the bechor Saifa, the father, and Saifa the mother. Hachanabi d'shakal. Maybe he would get pishnayim. So from the pasuk b'chol shemotziloi, you'll shtel it out in the least possible chiddush. Maybe that only applies when you're not a bechor la'aim. You're only a bechor la'av. Amar Nachman Yitzchak, we have a pasuk. Amar Kra. Reishis oinoi, right? It says Kihu Reishis oinoi. You are his Reishis oinoi. So oinoi v'loi oino. You're the first oinoi of the father, not of the mother. I'm sorry. The Gemara is using it as a drasha. In fact, the Gemara, I hahuma boyalei leboach and nefolim the lahava b'chol nachlav. The halacha is, what if a woman gives birth to a stillborn? The next child is not a bechor like a pidyon eben. You don't have to point him because he's not a petarechem. But the next child is a bechor to take pishnayim, because a birth lagabe take pishnayim has to be a baby who's viable. If it's not a viable baby, then the next one will still take pishnayim. So we learn shalibay dava olav, a child who your heart is concerned for, meaning there's an expectation that he's going to live. That's a child that is considered a bechor l'nachla, and if he dies, the next child does not take pishnayim. Yotazeh she'ein libay davala. So that's what we learn from Reishis Ainoi. From Reishis Ainoi, we learn that the only child that's considered a bechor is a viable child. A non-viable child would not be considered a bechor, and therefore the next child born would have the din bechor. Zok Gemara. Im kain lemakrak you Reishis oin. Oin means koyach. Oin means it's a child that's viable. But my oinoi. Why does it say Reishis oinoi? So you have an extra much to learn that it's totally in the father and not in the mother. And therefore, pishnayim you only get if you're a bechor for the father. You don't get pishnayim if you're a bechor for the mother. Shemami not tarti. So you still don't know because you have an extra limit. So you're assuming. What else would I need this pasuk for? It must be to tell you that you don't get pishnayim from your mother. But it's not true. Because the akata ema, hanamili, maybe the second pasuk that's also telling you you don't get pishnayim from your mother is speaking about an almoin shenasa basula. Maybe an almoin shenasa basula, which means you're not a bechor for your father, but you're only a bechor for your mother. Maybe that's what the Torah says you don't have a din of a bechor. Since you're not the bechor to your father, being the bechor to your mother alone is not enough to get your pishnayim. What if you are a bechor, aside from your mother and aside from your father? Maybe only then does the din pishnayim kick in, and maybe it would even apply to your mother's estate. Hachanami deshakel, maybe you would get pishnayim. So how do we know definitively that you don't get pishnayim from your mother's estate no matter what? Amarava amarkra loy mishpat habechayra. To him, male is the mishpat habechayra. Mishpat habechayra leish, or mishpat habechayra leisha. Now this is a shtickle drosha, because the loy mishpat habechayra is talking about the child. Loy to the child is mishpat habechayra, but we're darshaning loy mishpat habechayra. The mishpat habechayra only applies to a loy, to an estate coming from a man, not from a woman, which is how the Rishpam explains. So we've clarified how do you know that a son yarshins from his mother. You learn it from the Kavachomer, because it says the bas yarshins from the bas yarshins from the mother. How do we know that he takes precedent? From Matois, right? Because you have Dayo, you have Matois to learn Mate Oviv from Mate Ima from Mate Oviv, just like Mate Oviv, the son has precedence to the daughter, so too by Mate Ima, the son has precedence to the daughter. And how do you know that you don't take Pishnayim? Because it says Loi Mishpat Habachayr. Okay, Zok to go weiter. Ish as Ishtoi. A man yarshins his wife. How do you know that a man yarshins his wife? Zok to Gemara, the Tana Rabbanan, we learned a brisa. She'eroi zu Ishtoi. No, clearly, this Gemara is not following the Gemara we had at the very beginning of the parak that said She'eroi shows you that you yarshin your father, right? So this must be going according to the other shita that you know that you're yarshin your father from v'havartem es nachlas levita.
So Rashi says here.
Rashbam?
No, Rashi, Moshe Rashi.
Right.
He brings from says the Chsev Hoyle Busa Echa. Chsev Namer Sha'ira Ksis Vanusa Lo Yigno.
Right.
So Kim tells us it's not from the same Sha'ira.
Okay, very good. Very good. Thank you. So it's not a stira. Malamed Shabal, yeah, it's Sheiroi. If you look at the earth, it's a different Sheiroi. So I'm totally mistaken.
No.
Oh no,
he
he does. Okay.
But you learn from that Sha'ira.
I hear. So maybe it's a different share. Malamed Shabal, yours is Yochel Afi Tirashenu. You might think it's a reciprocal agreement, and it makes sense. If the wife is the she'er, the pasuk says you're giving a nachla to the she'er. It doesn't say he's yarshin from the she'er. It's saying you give his nachla to the she'er. So maybe she should yarshin him. So the lashon pasuk is imeinachim lo'aviv unesatim misnachlas l'shayroi akar v'lov mishpachtoi v'yarash oisa. He yarshins her, right? Who yarish oisa? Then he yarashes oisa. So the yarash oisa is what tells us that there is a Yerush of She'er, but the Yerush of She'er only works one way, that the husband yarshins the wife does not yarshin the husband. Frank the Gemara, but Vakari Lav HaChiksivi. Look at the Lashon HaPosek. It says, Kiyam L'She'er Yakarvelo. It goes to the She'er. So the Torah says, Beferish, that the She'er yarshins him. So how could you darshan from the Yerush? I saw the opposite. Omar Abaye, Triyatachi. This is how you'll have to modify the pasuk. It says in the Satem es nachalosoi. Let's follow along with one finger in the Torah or Sholem and one on the Gemara, because we have to see how it fits in order. It says in the Satem es nachalosoi lekaroi. So if you notice, it skipped out she'erei. It skipped out the word l'she'erei. In the Satem es nachalosoi lekaroi. First, you give the nachla to karav koydim. That's what determines the main order, right? Lekarav. And then she'eroi v'yarashoisa. Then we cut it up. We take she'eroi out, and we put she'eroi near the word v'yarashoisa. So it's one halacha is you give the nachla hakarav koydim, and a man is yarshining his she'er v'yarashoisa. Amar Rava. Oh yeah, we've been waiting so long for this Gemara. Sakina charifa mivstik lekari. I try to message schneid the posuk. What do you know who said that? Fleib was that. Man nimmt das starre vermischen. Man nimmt das starre vermessen. Mich schneit the Gemara in half. So he said, man nimmt das starre vermessen. Mich schneit the pasuk in half. You're literally butchering the pasuk. Ella Amar Rava. Let's see if we could massage it so it shouldn't be so out of order. The pasuk in Bamidra. We're skipping Hasheroi. and we're going hakarov, and then l'sheira yolov. That's right. You see this. The first time also messed up the pasuk. Messed up. Reorganize it. Another way to do it. Unisatem is nachlos. So what does it say? It says unisatem is nachlos. So let's read it. Unisatem is nachlos. Now we just captured ourselves a vav. So let's put that vav in the bank. We're going to use it too. And then it says she'eroi. We're taking away a lamed. So we've captured a vav from nachlosoi, and we captured a lamed from l'sheiroi. And we'll put those in the bank and we'll use them later. So now let's read the pasuk. When the Saddam is nachla sheiroi loy, give the nachla of his wife to him. Kasover he holds goyrid umaysifin v'darshan. So the Rashbam asks, like, isn't this also a sakina charifa? Those are pretty sakina charifa.
Well, in the word l'sha'ayro, you can take off the lamed and the vav. The Saddam is nachla she'ayro loy. So you have the lamed and the vav there anyway.
Where do you have the vav?
But
you need the vav. You need sheiroi. You still need the word sheiroi because it's his wife, right?
Nachla she'ayr loy.
No, but it has to be she'ayr. So the Rashbam says this is not called sakina charifa mafsika l'kra. Let's have a look. Let's look. El Amar Rava Hachika Amar when the satam is nachla she'ayroi loy. Kosover Gor Mosif Medarshan, Gora Vav Minachalosoi, captured a Vav from the word Nachalosoi, Velamed Milasheroi, Umaisivon Shtei Oisis Halalu, Zuagabzu, you combine them, Lasoisem Teva Achas, behind Uloi, with Rosh Hachi. This is how you should read the passage. The Satem is Nachlasheroi, Loi, give him his wife's Yerusha. Velav Dafka Migra Umaisiv. It doesn't literally mean to take letters and move them around, because that's the same issue as we had before. Dem kein Rava Nami Sakina Charifahu. Ella Pashte Dekra Ika Lefrushe Ki Ilu Gorin Maisivim Bedarkim. Don't actually chop up the pasuk. Just touch it as if it was chopped up. The Haki Mashma, this is how it would be Mashma Unasatam is Nachalosoi. Give his Nachla, Kloimer Titanuha Lizeha Ish Shetib Nachalosoi. And here there's from to the Sheirah, Kloimer Ami Mitzava Ani Unasatam is Hayerusha. Yosh nachlosei l'sherei. Who am I referring to, Dr. Rabban Shlodim? When I commanded you to give the Yerusha l'sherei, because that is what the words say, who am I referring to when I say give the nachal l'sherei? No, I'm referring to la'oisha ish she'isha zois she'erei. To that man who this woman is his she'erei. So that's how you teach it. It's a little bit different. Give him his nachla. Who should you give the nachla to? The man who this woman is his she'erei. So you're not really chopping up the pasuk. You're just teaching it in a very interesting way. Kloimer nachla seisha titnu lebal. That's one shot. Inami, or you could say another reason why it's not chopping up the pasuk. Ikalamemed lechoshav pisu kroi elabak damas teba shleimois lachtim akarav l'sheirei. If you're chopping up words and you're moving words around, that you're not allowed to do. I'm moving letters in this keferlich. That's not called chopping it up. That's you're allowed to do. You have loy to tell you that he yashins his wife. I saw to tell us that it's not a reciprocal Yerusha. He yashins her, but she doesn't yashin him. The tzarch legroya ulahoisav. And then you're going to have to massage the reading of the pasuk when you read it. This is the favorite type of way to learn psukim, according to David Zolti. He loves it when you do this to psukim. He has a favorite called Simply Pshat. Dr. Hela Gemara.
If the Balatilim says it on the page, you can include it.
For the Balatilim is worse. He's making it into a gematria. He's making the gematria already. But you see how important it is for a husband to yashin his wife and to make sure she doesn't yashin him. The Gemara is dedicating a lot of time to it. It's very important. It's very important. We actually have another makar. The time we learned the Yorish I saw Malamit Shabal Yorish. That's what we've learned Until now, V'yarsh I saw is the main point that makes that distinction that he yarshes her, but she doesn't yarsh him. Like Rabbi Shmuel, I don't need your whole drasha. I have a simple pasuk. Harayu Omer, halt cup. This is a roller coaster ride. Harayu Omer. It says v'chobas yoreshes nachla mimatos b'nei Yisrael le'echad le'achad mimishpachas. We just had this pasuk. Le'echad mimishpachas matei avia tia leisha l'man yirshu b'nei Yisrael ish nachlas avoisav. So we're saying she should marry someone in her shevet. Why? Because if she doesn't, then the nachla that she got from her parents is going to be diverted to a different shevet. So isn't that black and white that the husband yarshes her? How do you have a seibas nachla if the husband doesn't yarsh her? But that's not enough. Rabbi Shmuel brings another ayah. Vaymer says another pasuk. V'loisisayv nachla livnei Yisrael mimat al mata. Again, you see that from a seba.
What's that right that the husband does? Because if she's gonna marry, then her kids.
Oh, that's going to be the Gemara's kasha. That's a beautiful kasha. That's a beautiful kasha. You hear the Rebbe's asking, who said that seba comes to the husband? Maybe it's because she'll have children and the children will yarn. Beautiful kasha. But this is what the Gemara is saying. So far we have two psukim, and the town is not satisfied. V'aymer a third pasuk. V'loisisayv nachla mimata lemata acher. The third pasuk. Now we have a fourth pasuk. V'aymer, we're going into Novi. Ve'lozer ben Aaron meis. V'yikpru oisai. Where was Elazar buried? They give us Pinchas Benoi. It was in a property that Pinchas owned. What do you mean that Pinchas owned? Where did Pinchas get his property from? Obviously from his father. Since it says that he was buried in Pinchas' property and not on his own property, that Pinchas yarshes for him, it must be that Pinchas had access to a property from a different place, a different source, other than yarshing it from his father. So how did Pinchas get another property? Pinchas Isha, he must have married a wealthy woman, Umesa, and Pinchas' wife died, V'yarsha, and he yarshed it, and that is the property that he used to bury his father in, because it didn't come from his father. And we have another pasuk that shows the same thing, how a husband yarshes from his wife. He says, Ushaguv, Hoilet is Yair, is it with a sin or a shin? Usaguv, it's a sin. Usagiv, Hoilet is Yair. Saguv gave birth to Yair. So Saguv was Yair's father, by he loy, Esrim v'shalosh orim be'eretz Gilead, and Yair had 23 cities in Eretz Gilead. V'chiminayin liyor v'lahoy l'sukov. How did Yair have these properties that didn't come from his father? Because it would have talked about that the father had it, not the son had it. So obviously the son must have gotten it, but not from his father. Melamed shenasa Yair isha umeisa v'yarsha. So you have how many psukim do we have? We had 5 psukim. We had 5 psukim to prove the same point. The Tana is really battering us with this point that the husband yarshes. So Frank the Gemara, my v'aymer. Why was it necessary? Why was it necessary to have so many psukim one after the other to prove the same point? V'chitema b'sibas habein. So that's exactly what Chaim brought up from the first pasuk where it says v'chobasi reshish nachla mimatash b'nei Yisrael. Maybe that's referring to the chesed of a son, because if you marry a man out of your shevet, you're going to have a son out of your shevet, and your son will yarshin you. So v'chi tema b'sibas abenka kabit kra avo baal yorish, but you don't see that the husband yarshins tashma. That's why the Tana brought a second pasuk avo loisisayv nachla livnei Yisrael mimat al mata. Why would the Torah repeat the same prohibition? It must be that it's trying to tell you another prohibition besides the seba that's outlawed, that it should go to a different son. It's also that it should go to your husband. You don't want to be made of nachla through your husband. No, maybe they're both speaking about the son. But lav or love, belav asay. The first pasuk was an asay. You should marry mimatas b'nei Yisrael lechad mimishpachas, right? That's an asay. Maybe we want to have a lav also because of the asay of the son. Tashma, a second lav. Why do you need 2 lavin for the son? One must apply to the husband. Maybe the Torah wants to give 2 lavin and an asay, but it's all still only referring to asay b'seben. Tashma, story time. Elazar ben Aaron meis, and it was Pinchas's. Break the Gemara. The Gemara. The Bryce himself is asking my v'aymer, or the Gemara is asking my v'aymer. From Pinchas alone, you don't see that Pinchas must have got it from his wife. Elazar who did not say Itzo Mesa. Maybe Elazar was married to a woman from a different shevet, which was Pinchas' mother, and Pinchas' mother died, and maybe Pinchas Yarshin is from his mother, the Yarsha Pinchas.
He did.
What's that?
Gelernt, als ik ben Ben Pitti, als ik ben einig die jas, right?
Yeah, in the Chanami, right. So maybe that's where Pinchas got it from, and that's why it wasn't his father's. Up to Gemara.
Not a raya that father the husband inherit.
Sorry?
So that was not a raya that.
That's right. Which is still a stickle shver. Let me ask you a question. Who died first? If his mother died first, then wouldn't his father have Yashin did already?
That's why
Was
it's
it okay?
Huh?
Yeah, but the father didn't, and that's why it's called.
Oh, so right. So maybe the father didn't Yashin it, and then
If you give it a raya.
very good. Okay. That's right. Thank you.
Here,
I'm sorry.
here.
So Dr. Moore Tashma, the Tana brings up fifth pasuk, v'saguv hoileris yar, v'chite mahasam nami hachihu. Maybe in Saguv's case, it was the same thing, that it came from his mother and it didn't come from his wife. Dr. Moore Imkain Trey Kroy Lomali. Why did we need two psukim, two stories? Which is also a little bit trail. It's two different stories and two different numbers, right? So the Gemara is going to ask that. Amar Papa Abaye, it still doesn't. You still don't have a raya. Mimai dilma la'emalach bal lo yoris. All these five psukim that the Tana brings is still not a raya that the husband yarshins. Maybe ukroy besibas abay kiddushanina. Maybe all the psukim, the three psukim, the two lavin and the say, are speaking by sebas abay. You can ask me about yor. The yor does have in Mizbin. Maybe yor went and bought a property. Who said that the property had to come from his father? Maybe he bought it. Maybe he bought it. But the problem is when you buy a property, it goes back by Yovel. And that's not a problem. He had 23 cities that he bought. Upinchas nami zav mizbah. Amalei, so he answered Pinchas, you can't say he bought. Pinchas zav mizbah le'motzah zamit. You know why? Because he buried his father there. You're going to bury your father in a property that someone's going to go back to the original owner. Dimkei nimta sada kazeres b'yovel v'nimta tzadik cover v'kever she'enoi shaloi. Ella ema the nafel. You brought this up on Shabbos already. Ella ema the nafel of mistake charamim. Pinchas was a kohen. Maybe he got either a steichayim that goes to the kohanim or a steichuzah that the owner didn't redeem and therefore goes back. So there's so many different sources of where it could come. So you don't have a raya that this husband yarshins from any of these psukim. So you see how desperately Gemara wants to make sure we secure that. Okay, we'll stop at 37:51. Measure will be mamshach tomorrow.
Now, when hat ich gesagt, wenn ich die Geil wollte, weil bald so sehen.
But from a mother. Oh, but equally, I hear.